Welcome to the welcome check
Susie,
welcome to the Check Swing podcast where we talk about sports. We're two baseball coaches that talk a lot about baseball, but we also talk about all the other sports that we can talk about. Like you probably won't catch us talking about hockey, but so much. You definitely won't hear us talking about cricket. Well, I don't know. You know cricket, Miguel? You know
I know what it is.
that? Well, we won't be talking about cricket. Actually, yes, we will. I used to watch cricket. I had no idea what was going on, but I used to watch it a lot, quite a bit, because I wanted to try to learn it, but I never kind of really picked it up.
I did research on cricket because it was part of one of my projects in school to report on a sport that you know nothing about.
Mm,
It was pretty intriguing, but they actually came up with rule changes similar to the way baseball added the clock to everything this year because
yeah.
cricket's the type of sport like baseball, like it's over when it's over. But some of
Mm,
the matches would last days, so it's like
yeah.
I don't know anybody that would sit there for a week to watch one game.
Yeah. Yeah. You're absolutely right. That is true. That is something I do know about cricket. That they did change up the rules so games can be shorter, and I think they're thinking about putting it in the Olympics too.
I was
Think-
surprised that it wasn't in the Olympics because cricket is more widely played than I
Well, I
think.
think the reason was because it took so long.
Why did it take so long?
No, I think that's the reason. That might have been part of the reason why it wasn't in the Olympics is because it could take so long. Like you can't be
Yeah,
in the Olympics and take 2 weeks to finish a game.
right. And I think they compromised it to the point where I think you have to play up to a certain number and then you switch sides. So
Mm,
it caused the game to, I think, be like 3 or 4 hours versus 3 or 5 days. So
which is probably a good thing. I don't know. I'd have to talk to a cricket traditionalist to figure that out. But I usually start the show by saying how you been, and I obviously didn't do that today, so I'm going to take this part of the show and ask Miguel how you been, man.
I have been good, sir. It's been starting to warm up. It's going from 60 to 80 instead of 40 to 80 degrees.
Mhm.
So we're getting close.
We are getting close. We are getting close. I love the warm weather. I enjoy the warm weather. I do not like the cold weather. Uh, Miguel will tell you, I don't like the cold weather. I'll take the warm weather. It's funny. I'll take the warm weather all day, but I stay in the house with in the air conditioner.
I used to love the cold because I was a November. I'm a November baby, so I used to
Mm.
love the cold growing up until that arthritis hit.
See, yeah, I'm a summer baby, born in July. Maybe that's what it is. But we got quite a show to talk about. Well, we have quite a show for you today. We're going to talk about the who you got. If you got the text message today, if you saw the what's it called, the thumbnail on the YouTube, you saw a 5-on-5 that will be a dream matchup for any basketball fan, any fan of the NBA, anybody that watches the game, followed the game, whatever the case may be. A dream matchup, 5-on-5. We're going to talk about that in just a few seconds. But what I want you to do is, if you have an opinion on it, make sure you put your comments in the comment section, and we can talk about it, or you can call us at 669-275-0323. But I want to know who you got and why, and then also let's have some more fun with it and put our own teams together and see, who am I putting out there to counteract this person? Who am I putting out there to counteract that person? Let us know. Share it with your friends so we can have a whole big conversation going, because that's what we're trying to do. Trying to have a big conversation. I don't think there's going to be any baseball talked about on this show. You have a 5% chance of me talking about baseball on the show, Miguel, because this type of thing here gets me excited. And I can talk about it all day. But Miguel,
Sir,
sent me this picture that I guess I want to say, maybe you saw it on Facebook or whatever the case may be. And as I stalled while I try to pull it up because the thing went way.
what picture?
The pitcher that is the topic of our show today.
Oh, okay.
The 5-on-5. So on team one, I'll call it team one, team A, whatever you want to call it. You have Shaquille O'Neal, Kobe Bryant, Allen Iverson, Tim Duncan, and LeBron James. And on team two, team B, whatever the case, where you want to call it, you have Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Bless you.
Thank you. And his airness himself, Michael Jordan. And I want to know who you got. We got some messages that came in before the show that gave us their five that they will put on the floor, and I'll think of a five to put on the five. I can think of this conversation. I got this conversation every day, and probably have a different five every single day. Every single day. But first, Miguel. Hold on, Miguel. That was Miguel sending me stuff. So I'm just gonna go ahead and look at. So you sent me this, and I got excited, and I said, I can't wait to talk about this. This is right up my alley. And I thought about it, and I thought about it a few times, and I thought about how other people might respond to it. Like I thought about like this person. How would that person respond to it? How would this person respond to it? Not that it mattered in my answer, but I would just I want to hear the arguments, right? Because I want to know who you got and why. So, Miguel, I'm telling you right now, I'm looking at this. I have Team A, and you know what? I meant to pull the picture. Let me pull the picture up here. I meant to put it in there. I got so excited about the show, I forgot to do it. I have Team A. Team A is Shaquille O'Neal, Kobe Bryant, Allen Iverson, LeBron James, and Tim Duncan. That's Team A. Miguel, while I pull up this picture, while I get this picture together, tell me who you got.
I would do Team A, but I would trade.
Trade.
Yeah, I would trade Iverson.
Yo, you're such a I don't understand you.
What?
I don't understand you. You're such a Philly fan. Go ahead. I'm gonna let you finish. I gotta lay this comment out in my mind before I put it out there in the world. I gotta figure out what I'm trying to say.
I would trade Iverson and Shaq for Kareem and Steph Curry.
Why is that?
They both practiced. Curry can shoot a three from anywhere on the court. And Kareem was a better free throw shooter than Shaq. You're welcome.
So, first of all, let me get back to what I was going to call you.
Very well stated, sir.
You are such a fan of Philadelphia hater.
No.
You are.
So you're saying that I live to bet.
So
You're saying that I'm one of those fans that looks for any reason to hate a superstar.
Maybe three. You might need three reasons.
What?
You might maybe not one reason, but three reasons. Yeah.
I need three reasons for what?
To hate a superstar in Philadelphia.
Okay. What are the three reasons?
I don't know. I'm just saying. You said any reason. I don't say any reason for you. I say you get three reasons and then you're done.
So let's play this card, right? So why is Allen Iverson so beloved, right?
Do you want me to answer that?
I mean, we let's talk about it.
No, I didn't know. I didn't know if it was rhetorical or you wanted me to answer it right now.
Both. I don't know. You're the English major, but
He,
so I was raised in North Philly and I went to public school. So I think that I think for the first part of Ivers's career, he was beloved like unapologetically. Okay. He was the hardest worker, even though he's a ball hog. Um, he created excitement. The crossovers, the dancing, the 98 shots a game. He was a gamer, so there was no way that he was a dog. Okay, I get that because there's some athletes like your Namdi Asmwa or who was the dog from the running back that we got from the Cowboys. He was a dog.
oh, I I just talking about him today, and I can't remember his name now.
He's a Cowboy, so it doesn't matter. Um, I think what ruined him with part of the fan base was, of course, the comments about practice and him not showing up to several fan appreciation days at the end of seasons, and even post careers being involved in a 3-on-3 league that he co-owned or co-produced or whatever, and didn't even show the hell up for that. Um, And I think Allen Iverson said it himself. Like him and Kobe had like a private conversation and challenged AI. You know what I mean? To be better on and off the court. And I think that's why he took it so hard when Kobe Bryant passed, because he was always truthful. When you have Kobe Bryant in Philadelphia saying, "I'm going to cut your throat out," and then he does it, but you can't come to practice. That will always stick to my craw, and I think that's where Philly fans kind of get divided. I mean, in a city where the greatest third baseman that ever lived can get booed for stuff that he says in the paper, it's all fair game. You know what I mean?
So, of all that you said,
I'm still trading him.
right?
Hmm.
Mr. Shipley said DeMarco Murray. That's who the Cowboy was, DeMarco Murray.
Oh
Thank you.
yeah, yeah. Mr. Shipley is one of the parents from my team last year, so he knows all about crappy Cowboys. He's a he's one of those what do we call it, front runners. Um, I'm sure he's dying to call in. By the way, he's one of those front runners. He's a Yankees fan. He's a Cowboys fan. And whatever team LeBron James is on, and University of North Carolina.
Hey, wait a minute. I'm a North Carolina fan.
I said what I said, and I stick
And I
by
have
it.
and I have very good reason to be before I even knew anything about North Carolina.
I will say this: I love their colors. I love the
That's
baseball
true. Oh,
uniform.
beautiful.
It's gorgeous. I love that color. That's why I want that for
Did I ever tell you? I'm sure I did. Why I'm a North Carolina Tar Heel fan?
Is it the same reason why you were an Atlanta Braves fan?
No,
Okay,
not even close.
not even close. Do they have black people on it? No, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
The reason I'm a North Carolina Tar Heels fan is because when I went to Sixers camp one summer, that they put you on a team.
Hmm.
The league I played in was the ACC, and my team was North Carolina Tar Heels. So
Okay.
from that point forward, I was a Tar Heels fan. And it just so happened that following March was the Carolina Michigan final where Chris Webber called the
Oh,
timeout.
the timeout. Oh,
So
Fast Five.
my first experience of being a Carolina fan, they won the championship. So I was born right from there. Then I
Nice.
had a family member that went to North Carolina after that, or maybe it was during that. I don't remember, but Then I was down there for the graduation, got to walk around the facilities and all that stuff because he was an athlete there. So yeah, I had the whole experience. I feel like I have a very good reason to be a Carolina fan. Very good reason. Now back to you. Back to this conversation here.
Uh-huh.
Mr. Shipley said, "Leaders lead, the rest cheer for Philly." See, I liked you for a hot second, Mr. Shipley.
I warned you. I warned you. I
Uh,
warned you about him.
now I'm not too sure, but appreciate you checking this out, Mr. Shipley. Um, what did Allen Iverson do on the court that would make you want to trade him?
He took 98 shots a game. I mean, because that was always to me, that was always kind of a misnomer. He would average like 24, 30, 25, 28, 29 points a game. I mean, but that's kind of easy to do in the NBA when you're taking the majority of the shots. When the
First of all,
Sixers,
I hate that argument. I hate when
hold on,
anyone makes that argument.
hold on a second. When the Sixers built that team in 2001,
Mm-hmm.
who was the other offensive option? You had what? Eric Snow. You had Aaron McKee,
The
who
other
were
option, the other
other
option was Larry Brown.
offensive options. All
The
because
offensive option was Larry Brown. He had no other offensive options.
Dikembe no foul. Like it
And Kimbe was probably the final option on
right,
offense.
right. But again, that's the reason why that team only got but so far. And there was they couldn't pair him with anybody else. They tried with Stackhouse. They tried with Hughes.
Well,
You guys,
they got to the finals.
yeah, but
The furthest you can get.
here's the thing: if you look at that season, right, I believe that the Sixers had the best record in the NBA, I believe, by the All Star break when they traded Theo Ratliff and they got Mutombo. They were 500 the rest of the way. Every series 7 games. Every single series, with the exception of the championship, with the finals, was a 7 game series. So they were pretty run down by the time they got to the finals, even though they won the first game, and everybody thought that they won the championship, which was a horrible mistake. But he was built to win games and to entertain, but not win championships.
Well, he was definitely.
So let me ask you this, right?
Mm,
Kobe, right? Curry, right?
mm-hmm.
If you need somebody to win you a championship and your options are Kobe, Curry, and Iverson, who you got?
Kobe.
I always remember the icing on the cake to my argument. You remember when Iverson finally got traded? He went out to Denver or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
Saudi Arabia, whatever, maybe afterwards.
Yeah, when he was like 35 years old or whatever he was.
Right. He comes back to Philly, right? Not
Mm-hmm.
because he's trying to help the team win, but the Sixers are crappy in the box office, right? I
Mm-hmm.
remember the first game he came back, he didn't even start. We went to the game. It was Sixers, Lakers. I believe it was like a Thursday night. Place was packed.
You said you went to this game?
I went to this game.
Okay.
Iverson, they announce him. He comes up, the lights dim. He kisses the floor, the Sixers logo. Oh my God, it's like 2001 all over again, except we got Iguodala and all these other ugly mofos, right? So then I remember him coming in the second period, 13 points. Pow, pow, crossover. Oh my God, it's like that. What? Sixers were up by, I think, 15, right?
Mm-hmm.
Third quarter and fourth quarter, Kobe was like, okay, 6 threes in a row. Bam, bam. Everybody's like, oh, it's still the Sixers.
They were. They
He
were still.
he was great in moments. He was fantastic in moments. I think he was scored had a 60 point game. But when it comes to championship pedigree, because when you have that picture up there of
Mm-hmm.
all of those players there,
Yes, he's the only one.
only one that doesn't have a championship, and the only one that when he put the team on his back could not win. and did not. I don't
Well,
care what anybody
let
says.
let me ask you this.
He
Let me ask
could
you this
not
just
make
on that part.
he could
Let me
not make anybody
hold
else
on, hold
him.
on, hold on, hold on. Let me ask you this just on what you just said just now. Let me ask you this.
Mhm.
What other non-champion Hall of Famer would you put up there except instead of Allen Iverson?
Non-champion.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have any non-champions in my head because I want to win a championship. When I'm thinking of 5 players, I'm thinking they got to have a championship pedigree.
But what you kind of already just proved my point. He might be the best player that didn't win a ring.
Maybe.
And what did he do on the court that would tell you, all right, I need to trade him? What did he do on the court that says, all right, he don't belong on this team? He carried a team of guys that you put those guys on a team without Allen Iverson together, they're not making the playoffs. He took them to the championship. Not a game, not a game, not a game, the championship.
And he won game 1 and lost 4 in a row in the championship.
And
Blown out, blown.
he's not the first one to do it. And he won't be the last. Hell, we got a series that's tied right now. If Denver doesn't win another game, Nikola Jokic,
bless you,
could be a star that won the first one, didn't win another one. Hell, they wasn't even supposed to win one in that series, and they did in dramatic fashion in overtime.
You know who saved that game, right?
Eric Snow.
Matt Geiger with his 10 points in the 4th quarter.
Oh, well, yeah, that helped. That helped because the Sixers lost the lead.
I always remember that series.
Oh, no, but they can't. Anyway, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I always remember that series because I was dating this chick, and I remember in Game 7 against Toronto when Vince Carter hits it off the rim and whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I remember like I was really trying to get in trouble with her.
Mm-hmm.
And she had 2 sons and they kept waking up. And it was like the most physically frustrating day. I was happy and frustrated at the same time. That's why I always remember that season. And then she just disappeared off the face of the earth.
Lucky you.
Yeah, lucky me.
But see, you didn't answer the question. You said you would take Team A, but you're trading Shaq and AI.
But I told you why. I told you.
Yeah, but that's not the question. The question is not who you take and if you trade. The question is Team A versus Team B.
Okay,
team
is
going to win the game?
I misunderstood the question. If that's the case, then I got Team B.
Team B.
Yeah, but I would trade. I would trade Durant because his legs are too skinny.
You're always trading somebody.
I'm always thinking about that. I'm sorry, but I would take Team B just for the simple fact, like even 4 out of the 5, like I think Kevin Durant would be kind of irrelevant. You know what I mean? Because you got so many clutch players. And again, I love the fact that you have Kobe and Duncan because those are 2 players I would have wanted. Like if I had to pick a team from scratch, I would start with those 2 players. I just don't like Iverson for the simple fact of my whole argument the first half of the show, and Shaq, who's
your argument is based on stuff that he did off the court. For the most,
no.
one thing that you said that he did on the court was take a lot of shots.
Right, he took a lot of shots, took a lot of game. For every acrobatic play that he made a couple of boneheaded plays as well because he was trying too hard to make a play.
So who doesn't make a bonehead play?
I agree with you.
Shaq has a whole segment that he has called Shaq and the 4 extremely boneheaded plays.
Do you think that if you had Iverson with the ball and he's playing the point that he's going to be willing to give it up to someone else. It's in his pedigree. He always said that. Like, I'm a gamer. I'm going to take as many shots as I can.
Well, your question is kind of, is he going to be willing to get? No, but I don't know any star that is willing to get, like, this is not little league ball. This the league.
That's why.
Your star needs to be taking the shots.
That's
Like,
why.
if he has to give up the ball, I think he does. Maybe not as much as he should, but if he has to give up the ball for a better play, yeah, he's willing to do that. But I think every star in this league that is a scorer, and I say that because of guys like Ben Simmons, I think every star in this league that is a scorer does not want to pass the ball. Kobe, there are stories of Kobe that would, like, you miss a shot, Kobe's not passing you the ball no more. Kobe takes the ball and he's shooting the ball. But Kobe will get on you because you shot the ball and didn't give him the ball.
But he was clutch and he made his shots. That's the whole thing. Like, Iverson would say the same thing.
He didn't make all his shots, but he was the star player.
How many championships did Kobe win?
5.
How many did Iverson win?
0. How many Shaquille O'Neals did Iverson have on this team?
How many what?
How many Shaquille O'Neals did he have? How many Rick Foxes? How many Robert Ory's?
Technically, he had 1/3 of each.
That ain't enough.
So now it's the Sixers' fault for him not winning championships.
Well, I mean, the game is played on the court, but I mean, Miguel, like, let's be real. You take Kobe off that Laker team, you still got Shaq, and you still got a pretty damn good team. You take Iverson off that Sixer team, you might beat them with your boys.
If you take wait. If you took Iverson off that team, they wouldn't have won. They wouldn't have won 50% of their games.
Yeah, I agree with that. That's exactly what I'm saying. That you're agreeing with.
But with Shaq, if you take Kobe off that team, I don't think he wins it. I don't think Shaq wins it alone.
He may not win it, but they're getting to the playoffs.
More so than the Sixers, you mean, without Iverson?
Yeah.
So they've always been a better built team because they always focused on winning, whereas the Sixers, I think with Iverson.
So it sounds like you would blame the Sixers.
I would for some of it, because when you give Tyrone Hill, who was arguably one of the ugliest NBA players who ever lived, and Kenny Thomas, and you bring back what was his
Rodney
name?
Buford. Don't forget Rodney Buford.
And you messed up with the guy that never played the what's his name?
Ooh, Bynum.
Way after. Right, but there were a lot of, and Billy King even would say, when he was on the radio, he made a lot of gaffes. It just seemed like
they mostly gaffes.
Right, and it just seemed like they didn't know how to. It's like the Sixers organization didn't know how to put a team together. Like with Larry Brown, like, I know they went by everything Larry Brown said, and it's amazing how a great coaching mind could destroy a team. You know what I mean? And the only reason why he won in Detroit was simply because the GM said, "Don't touch the players. I'll handle the players. You handle the court." Mm-hmm. So I would even put some of the blame on Larry Brown for not being able to. I don't want to say not be able to handle, Iverson. It's like with how Andy Reid handled T.O. I think if T.O. was the player he was then today, I think Andy Reid would have totally handled the situation completely different. I don't think he would have called him out in the press. And I still say to this day that T.O. was wrong for throwing his quarterback under the bus. But I think I don't think Andy Reid would have kicked him out of practice or done any.
That situation there could have definitely been handled.
And even the practice news conference for Iverson, because that came off of an argument that him and Larry Brown was having, and allegedly he was actually drunk that day, so that's the reason why he was so hot headed. But Larry Brown challenged him and was like, "You want to tell these fans that you don't care about practice? Then go ahead." And I think because Billy King actually told the story that he had to intervene between them. They've had like 300 closed door meetings just now.
So let me hold that thought because I'm going to ask you something. Have you seen the documentary called Everything But the Chip?
I have not.
You would be very interested in watching that because it actually talks about that. It talks about one meeting in particular where everything kind of changed and where they kind of got on the same page. But I want to say that meeting came after in the 2001 season. Or whatever the season they went to the championship. It came early in that season. After, remember, they won 10 straight games to start that season.
Right.
And then they lost or something. And then there was like a big blow up between Iverson and Brown.
Yeah, I think he was ready to trade him to, was it Detroit or something? He was ready to trade him.
Larry Brown wanted to trade Allen Iverson. They were shopping him, according to this documentary. They were shopping him. The trade that was talked about was like a huge trade. It involved players in the double-digit numbers and like a whole bunch of teams in the trade. But it fell through, and then that next season was the season they went to the finals. But there was a big argument between Allen Iverson and Larry Brown during that season. And they talked about this argument, and the guys were listening at the door and stuff like that. And after that, they had kind of got on the same page, and that's when they started really clicking with each other. But I would say you would like that documentary. I think you would like it. I think you would.
Because I heard about that. I think it involved one of the players had a no trade and they reneged on it, or they activated it, and that's why it didn't happen. I think
something like that. I think
one of the players was Grant Hill.
Yeah, I believe it. But I will also say this: for everything that you say about Iverson and practice and all like that, and the bad moves Billy King made, Billy King had that job for a nice little bit of time. Allen Iverson's the reason he had that job for as long as he did. Allen Iverson's not there, and he's making the moves that he made. He'd been fired a long time ago. He'd been ran out of time. Allen Iverson made the team successful during his era. That's my opinion, and probably some people say that's fact, but he made the team successful during that era. He's the reason Billy King kept his job. It's probably the reason Larry Brown kept his job until Larry Brown said, "I'm done. I'm ready to go."
But do you know? I just found it. The player that activated his no trade clause.
Who was it?
Matt Geiger. So the trade,
yes, they did say that. Yeah,
the trade was done, but Matt Geiger was like, "Nah."
You're right. They said that in the thing because he would have been due. Had he let that trade clause happen, I think he would have been out of like a whole lot of millions of dollars.
Yeah, he would have lost but that was before the amnesty clause that they instituted. So I don't know if he would have lost that much, but
I don't know. But
I'm
just they on the document they said they gave the number of, he would have lost out on a lot of money.
Gotcha.
A lot of money.
Gotcha.
So, so we're talking about who you got in this game. Somebody texted me and said Denver. I think they thought we were talking about like who you got in the finals. Mr. Shipley, let me put this comment in here. I haven't read it yet. He said AI had over 120 teammates while with the Sixers. You can't win with that amount of turnover. Yeah, that's true. And whose fault was that? Billy King. Billy King was the one that was signing them and letting them get out of here. He's the one that's in control of that, not Allen Iverson.
Yeah, but don't you think it's kind of odd that you can't find anybody? It's funny how the only players that can get along on the court with Iverson, so it seemed, were all players that were not a threat offensively. I think I'm saying that right.
Mm,
And that was the only year that they went to the finals. And then I think when they tried to actually upgrade the offense, by adding a Kenny Thomas or whoever, Derek freaking Coleman. Um, Anytime they tried to add even a semblance of another offensive player, it just seemed to just get worse.
well, Allen Iverson was a ball dominant player.
Ball hog. Just say you now it's a play on words. Ball dominant. He's a
He was
ball
a
hog. He was
ball dominant player. When you call somebody a ball hog,
ball hog.
to me, that means you're forcing shots.
That's exactly what he did. That is exactly what he did.
But
You
that,
you're crossing over everybody and you're
but
putting it into a
but
quadruple team.
also being a ball hog means you have some other people that you can depend on to score, and you don't give them the ball.
Have you ever? Do you remember that season? Allen Iverson would take on four guys, and everybody else's job was to sit there and wait to see what Iverson would do. That was the offensive call.
Mm-hmm.
And then the defensive call was everybody to go back on the defense position while Allen Iverson was picking himself up because he slid on 3 rows into the seats.
So it
And
sounds like you were angry at the Sixers offense the year that they went to the finals.
I wasn't angry at it, but I mean, damn, 7-game series, like every series except for the finals, it was exciting. But I mean, when you hear,
Well, the first series didn't go 7, right?
I think it
Or
was
did it
that.
go
That
5?
was, that
I
was
mean,
the
it was
last.
a 5.
That was the last season that it went 5 because they beat the
So it
Pacers.
was so that went 5 games. Yeah, you're right because they won 2.
And I
You're right.
think they
Yep,
were down
you're
to
right.
one over two. I think they were down and came back.
They won the first game, and then they might have lost the next 2 or something like that. But
Right.
um,
Because I think they were the only series they were up. I think was against Toronto because I think Game 7 was in Philadelphia. And I always forget who we played the series before that.
so I'm going to go to my trusty dusty Google, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to look some things up because I was about to counter one of your points, but I forgot what I was going to say. So, and people, who is texting me? They're not even texting about the show, so cut it out. Let's think about some of the champions, right? Because I'm looking up there, right? I'm looking at the guys in the picture that all of them won championships except Allen Iverson, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at LeBron. I'm looking at Tim Duncan. I'm looking at Kareem and maybe Giannis. I think those guys were not ball dominant guys, but they also on their championship runs, except for maybe LeBron James one of the seasons, but not really. They had other people that could score on the team.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm talking about the Lakers Kareem. I'm not even going back to Milwaukee because Kareem's in the Laker uniform there.
You're not
You had
talking
Magic,
about
you had James Worthy, you had Michael Cooper, you had Byron Scott. If Byron Scott played with Kareem. You had scorers. Curry got scorers around him. He's pretty ball dominant too. Like you'll watch the Warriors and you'll see Curry dribble around and people will watch. Kevin Durant, another ball dominant player, had pieces around him when he won the championship. Giannis probably has, out of all those championship teams up there, Giannis's team was probably, I don't want to say the worst because that would make it seem like they were bad, but probably had the least strongest championship team out of all the championship teams that were up there. I believe the Spurs championship team was probably a little stronger than, I mean, it depends on which Spurs championship, but you had, I think one you had Avery Johnson, you had David Robinson, you had Vinny Del Negro, you had a bunch of guys that played a role very well. I don't see any of those guys that's up there carrying a team that AI had to the finals. I don't see it. I don't see it at all.
You don't think LeBron carried the Cavaliers?
I'm going to say no because he had Kyrie Irving. And Kyrie Irving made some clutch shots out there. Kyrie Irving is a future Hall of Famer. Kyrie Irving was a superstar before LeBron went back to Cleveland. So I mean, I'm looking at it like who's taking that team to the finals? That's up there. Shaq ain't doing it.
So do you think it was just so? The team I think that was probably the biggest fluke in Philly history was the '93 Phillies because everybody had career years that year. Um, except for Schilling. Schilling was the only pitcher that really actually wound up getting better. And I think that's probably what happened with the Sixers. That's
I said a young Schilling too.
A young Schilling, yeah, with a crew cut. But everybody had to have a career year, and I think that's kind of sort of what happened with the Sixers to a degree. Um, so why couldn't he carry the team anymore? Other than like why was that year so special? Other than everybody having career years, why was that team able to do what it did? Did the ball just magically bounce its way? And then it just fell off the cliff, and they were just never able to rekindle. Whereas, all the other teams, minus the general manager,
because the Sixers did not have the talent to be consistent year in and year out like the other teams that we saw during that era.
So by the time he goes to Denver and he has Carmelo with him, he's pretty much washed up.
What I wouldn't say he was washed, but that was never going to work.
The same way it wasn't going to work with Stackhouse, the same way it wasn't going to work with Hughes, the same way it wasn't going to work with.
It could have worked with Stackhouse.
But why didn't it?
Because Stackhouse thought he was better than he was. And he should have. And he should have, because it was only his second year in the league. He came out, he was pomp and circumstance coming out of the league. They thought he was the next Mike. He came in the league thinking he was about to be the man. Allen Iverson came in, was better than Stackhouse. But Stackhouse is seeing it like this is my team. Allen Iverson's taking it, you know what? Nah, this looking like it's gonna be my team, bro. And I just don't think that ever worked because Stackhouse was never really a ball dominant guy. But the thing about Stackhouse that early in his career, he was not as good a shooter as people thought he was or was going to be. So his whole game was, if he wasn't getting to the hole or getting by you and stopping and popping or something like that, he wasn't going to have, success. Allen Iverson, being from in that particular season, point guard position, he had the ball in his hands first. He can score in ways that Stackhouse couldn't, and he would, and Stackhouse wouldn't touch the ball, and I think that's where that butting of heads came in. It could have worked if Stackhouse, and later on in Stackhouse's career, it could have worked.
So when Kobe and Shaq had their issues, they wound up working it out and then winning several championships together.
Mm-hmm. They
You know what I
did.
mean? So it
Here's the difference in that one. Here's
they
the
were.
difference in that one. And I don't even know if I'm right, but I'm just going to give you a difference. Shaq was much older than Kobe
Mhm.
at the time, and Shaq had been um he had been in the league longer. He was older than him, and he had been dominant longer. So their issues were, I'm doing it my way. Don't tell me nothing, young fella. I've been
Mhm.
doing it this way for long enough. Kobe had his issues with Shaq being lazy, right?
Mhm.
But on the court, they made it work on the court. Stackhouse and Iverson were a year apart from each other in college. I think Stack might have been a few years older than him, maybe. They might have been they were like right there in age.
So you're saying they were both immature at the same time, and they both. I got you.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely. And then the other one, in show Kobe and Shaq's case, I think you would think Shaq was would have been more mature, but I think Kobe might have been more mature in the game and his approach to the game, because Kobe had a mindset of wanting to be the greatest. Shaq was in the dominant state of, I don't know if Shaq wanted to be the greatest, but he did want to be great. But he could be great and be lazy at the same time. Where Kobe worked hard for it all the time.
So what was Iverson?
Iverson was hella talented. He was naturally gifted.
But did he want to win?
Oh, absolutely. He wanted to win.
So if he wanted to win, then why didn't he do the things needed to win? And I think that's where you and me kind of clash because
Well,
you
what
know
what things did he need to do to win on the teams that he had?
practice. He needed to practice.
All right. So
He
now
needed
we're
to
back on.
practice.
So
How do you not?
we're talking about professional basketball players here, right?
Yes,
We're talking about pros. We're not
correct.
talking about little kids or high school. We're talking about professionals.
But you said
Did
he
he
would
really need to practice? Like how?
see.
All right.
see,
How good he was? You're going to come back and say how good could he have been? But look at how good he was, and he didn't even practice. Hall of Famer.
You just proved my point. If he would have practiced, he would have been the greatest.
I don't know about that.
Kobe put in the work. Jordan put
Hold on. Hold on. Hold
Jordan
on.
put in the work.
There, I don't know if there was anybody, if there's any iron there on that team to make him sharper. If you're practicing and dominating your opponent all the time in practice, are you really getting better? If you're in a batter's box in practice and your pitcher that you always face in practice can only throw the ball 65 miles an hour and you're crushing the ball, are you really becoming a better hitter?
Yeah, but then if you realize that the players that are around you are not up to your caliber, don't you attempt to go out? Now you're in the NBA, you have the money to do it. You can go and train with the greatest in the off season, which is what the greats do. They train they
I
train
doubt he may have did any of that. I don't know if he did any of that.
really.
I mean, I doubt it. I seriously doubt it. But I do know he played in some leagues, in some pro-am leagues, um, around the country.
The
I
ones
do
that
know that,
the ones that he actually decided to show up for.
that he decided to show up for.
But see, but again, it's like the question you ask, like why didn't he win? Okay, we can point to the supporting cast, but there are a lot of times that great players make the players around them better, right? Either because of their work ethic or whatever. I think he left it all on the court, literally, and just left it there. And yes, he's naturally gifted, he's naturally talented. But if you're trying to make everybody else better around you, that's why practice is important. because I think not that you can spread greatness, but you can spread a mentality of greatness that everybody else picks up. Like when you look at Jordan, very early in his career, he was looked at as a player that was great on the highlight films, but wasn't a winner because he kept getting destroyed by the Detroit Pistons, who beat the living piss out of him. Right?
Mm-hmm.
What did he do? He practiced harder. He worked harder. He got better. He got better as a free throw shooter. He got better from 3-point land. And then 6, 7 straight championships later, he's arguably the greatest. After 2001, then you hear about the rumors about practice. You hear about, a tiff between a gay guy and his wife. So it's like there's so many outside distractions that he never really squelched on, or never put the fires out on, because he had his entourage, and he friends for life and all that, and I get that. But when it came to what he needed to do to help his game on the court and help the players around him, it just wasn't part of his anatomy. Whereas, I want to read Mamba, the book that Kobe came out with or whatever.
Mamba mentality.
Mamba mentality. He's talking about,
got it right down there.
He's talking about waking up at 3 a.m. and then checking in with some of the players, and running and doing all this stuff. Allen Iverson's not running at 3 a.m.
Not at all. He's still at the club.
Correct. And everybody in Philly knew that, and they gave him a pass because because it wasn't about
because he
winning.
because he
about
had
the show. It wasn't about the winning. It was about entertaining.
So you sound like you're a person that wants your professional athletes to take the route of Kobe.
I'll say Kobe or Tim Duncan or LeBron James, Shaq one day a week. Yeah, absolutely.
And you realize they're all playing a child's game.
Correct. But it's not a child's game when you're paying $80 for your ticket, $30 for your parking pass.
It's not a child's game to you.
So if I'm putting out $200 to $300 for my seat total, I'm not.
But you also paid all that knowing what you're going to see. So you didn't pay that money to see him go to practice. You paid that money to see him perform on the court.
Perform, but not win.
You're not paying. You're not. No. He did a lot of winning. Don't do that.
After 2001, he didn't win crap.
But he was going to the playoffs.
And
he was going to the playoffs.
He went to the playoffs to do what? Not win.
He went to the playoffs to do something that only one team didn't do. And that was to lose in the playoffs. Only one team doesn't lose in the playoffs every year. Only one.
So you're okay
in every sport.
You're okay with the mediocrity that he brought to the team.
I don't think he brought mediocrity to the team.
When people
I don't think you can be a Hall of Famer and you bought mediocrity. I don't think that goes.
Is he a Hall of Famer?
He's in the Hall of Fame. He got in the same year as Yao Ming.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that.
he was on. I think Yao Ming.
Sorry, I didn't think he would show up.
It was Yao Ming. Mr. Shipley says AI has a 51% winning percentage. That's cloak and dagger there.
Just
because he played for a bad Detroit team. He played for a bad Memphis team. He played for a bad Sixers team the second time around. So that
So your argument with
however, let me finish this one. However, in those times you could go 500 and make the playoffs. Pacers did it a lot. in those days.
Oh, that's the other player I was thinking of, Reggie Miller. He was the one that he didn't win the championship, and he was one of the
You
greatest.
taking Reggie Miller over AI?
Oh my God! If, with that team, absolutely,
You think Reggie Miller's taking that team to the finals?
absolutely.
Reggie Miller barely took a better team to the finals. Because if you remember 2 years in a row, the Pacers put the Sixers out
if you put Reggie Miller with that four, yeah,
with the four from the Allen Iverson the Sixers team in 2001. You talking about that four? Or
no, the four that's
you talking
here,
about the four that's on the screen?
the four that's on. I actually think Iverson would ruin the chemistry of this team and be the ball hog that he was.
I guarantee you he wouldn't be.
Right.
I
You know,
guarantee you
there's only
wouldn't.
one reason why he would not be, because he wouldn't show the hell up.
No, I guarantee you he wouldn't be because
He would not
anytime
show up.
let's talk about this real quick, and then we got to get ready to wrap up. When Allen Iverson had certain stars on his team, he would defer to them until they showed him that he wasn't. They just didn't have it. Glenn Robinson. He deferred to Glenn Robinson to be a scorer.
Wasn't
Glenn
Glenn
Robinson was
Robinson at the end
old.
of his career when we got him? Now,
Yeah, exactly. Chris Webber, same thing.
Chris
Right.
Webber was the dog of dogs.
Tried to get Larry Hughes a career. That's Larry Brown's fault.
That was Larry Brown.
Larry Hughes should not have been drafted to the Sixers, and he probably should have been a better player. Who else did the Sixers have?
AI 2.0, Iguodala. Remember that?
Iguodala. They wanted Iguodala to be the next Allen Iverson.
You remember the AI 2.0 on billboards that were up and down?
I remember you talking about it. I don't remember seeing it, but I remember you talking about the AI 2.0s. It was that's like Stackhouse being the Jordan 2.0. It's probably the exact equivalent.
Mhm.
Actually, Iguodala might have had a better career than Stack. I'm not sure.
Slightly.
He got a couple rings. I don't think Stack. Did Stack win a ring? I feel like Stack might have won a ring. No, I think he was on the Mavericks the year the Heat beat the Mavericks.
I
think he was on the Mavericks the year the Heat beat the Mavericks. I don't know. I don't think Stack got a ring. So, are you stumping me today, Miguel?
Yeah, this is the only time we're talking baseball. The one time I decide to not, I did basketball the last 3 weeks in a row, and I decided to do baseball tonight, thinking, oh, we're gonna talk a little baseball.
No, I
But
told you.
no, but yeah,
I told you it wasn't gonna happen for me today.
it's completely my fault. All right.
Because while you're doing that, I'm getting my quiz for you.
All right.
Oh, you ready? Oh,
Yep.
Lord. Oh my goodness. Hold on. Let me just find my quiz. I gotta take time to look at this.
I'll just name all the teams that they played for. This guy played for because he played so long in the league. He played for the same team like on 3 occasions.
So it looks like let me just try to decipher some of that. Oakland A's, I think that's the obvious one.
Mm-hmm.
Oakland A's, the Yankees,
Mm-hmm.
the Rays.
No, San Diego.
Okay, during that era. Okay.
Yeah, it was 80s, 90s, and 2000s.
You just San Diego. I'm like Padres. The Mariners.
Yes.
Tino Martinez.
No.
Okay.
He played for most of the teams, but not the A's.
Say again. Say again, Miguel.
He played for most of those teams, but not the A's.
All right. Tell me the teams, because tell me the teams.
Oakland A's, New York Yankees, San Diego Padres, the Mets of New York, Boston Red Sox, Los Angeles Dodgers, Anaheim Angels when they were in Anaheim, or They've always been in Anaheim, but they renamed them 5 times. Seattle and Toronto.
It's not Dave Stewart. No, not a 3-time Silver Slugger.
Nope, not Dave Stewart.
Is Dave Stewart in the Hall of Fame?
I don't actually think so because he had 4 really good years, but he happened to be on the A's and one of the Toronto Blue Jays championships. But he was clutch. So, but I don't think he had enough years of winning because he won late in his career. He was also Philly for 1 year before he turned around and won the Cy Young. I think. I don't even think he won the Cy Young, but it's not Dave.
A's,
Yankees, Padres, Mets, Red Sox, Dodgers, Angels.
Did he also play for the Trenton Bears or the Hershey Bears? Or no? Did he also play for the Newark Bears?
Maybe.
Because I'm thinking of somebody, and I feel like I'm dead wrong.
Go with you're always successful when you just say it.
But I feel like we had him already.
Just say it.
Ricky Henderson?
We didn't have Ricky Henderson before.
I was right. Oh my goodness. I don't even remember. Oh, he did play for the Mets. I do remember playing for the Mets.
So here's the funny thing. After he won he only played 1 year in Toronto when they won the championship against the Phillies. He's holding the trophy there.
And he won a trophy in Oakland.
In Oakland, but he was traded from New York, the Yankees, when it was him and Dave Winfield were together for like 6 years and it didn't work out. So every year that he won a championship, he was traded to that team. Because I think even Toronto, he was traded from Oakland. Because I think he had 3 stints with Oakland. 1, 2, 4 stints with Oakland. So he really likes California.
Yeah, I would probably like California too. I don't remember him playing for the Dodgers.
That was the last team he played for. He his first at bat when he signed, he hit a home run.
I do not remember him with the Dodgers, but
yeah,
he did play for I think it was the Newark Bears.
He played for Camden, the River Sharks.
Was it Camden?
He played for the River Sharks for 2 years, and then I think he went down to Atlantic City. He was in that independent league for like 3 or 4 years because he played until he was like 47.
Okay, then I'm a little bit wrong.
No. I think he also played for the Newark Bears, but I think after that he couldn't get a major league contract or even on a minor league deal, so he went to play indie ball for a little bit.
All right, I was good, and I started to say it when I saw two World Series champion, right? Mm-hmm. And I was like, I know Ricky played for a lot of teams, but I think we had Ricky Henderson already, but we didn't. Because I was also going to say Dave Winfield, but I know we had Dave Winfield already.
We had Dave Winfield, right? And I think Ricky Henderson was the reason why we lost that Game 6 in '93. Because Mitch Williams walked him. Remember, Mitch Williams walked him, and then he did that stupid slide step, and then Devon White got a hit, and Tony Fernandez. It was, the end of Mitch Williams was caused by Ricky Henderson.
How about that?
Memories.
How about that? I'm trying to see where his minor league teams he played for. I can't find it. God darn, he played from 1979 to 2003.
Mm-hmm.
Played from 1979 to 2003. Good Lord.
Mm-hmm.
That's when I got out of college. Well, that's when I was supposed to get out of college.
I believe he was born and raised in Oakland too. And I was always fascinated because his legs were always like freaking tanks, like fire hydrants, man. I was like, how does a guy that big, or with legs that big anyway, run that fast? The lost art, stealing bases. The lost art.
All right, here we go. I got one for you. Let me Let me stop this one and let's get this one up here. Here we go. You can't see that, can you? Now you can see. There we go. All right. Here we go. Which San Francisco Giants player once hit a home run but didn't score? Is it Aaron Rowan, Randy Wynn, John Boker, Benji Molina?
Oh man, if you asked this question about the Mets, I would have got it.
Maybe next week.
Bro, I will say Molina.
Is it Benji Molina? Benji Molina is correct. Did you hear the ding?
Yes.
The ring-a-ding-ding. On September 26, 2008, Benji Molina became the first player in MLB history to hit a home run and not get credit for a run scored. In the sixth inning of a game against Los Angeles Dodgers, he hit a ball off the right field wall that was originally ruled a single. The umpires used instant replay and subsequently ruled the hit a home run, but Molina was already replaced at first base when bench runner Emmanuel Burris, who rounded the bases, was credited for the run.
I didn't think you could do that.
You didn't think you could do what?
So basically, like in theory, he was substituted during the hit. I mean, I guess I get it, but I see what they did there.
You're actually right. Technically, he was substituted during the hit.
But yeah, it was because of the replay. So,
but now that you say that, I think about it. I'm like, well, since the play reverted back, should it now revert back to him still being in the game?
You would think so, but I think because what I'm thinking happened is the original ruling was the single, and then the manager took him out and then decided to ask the question about can we replay it as a home run? Because remember when replay first came out, I think it was 08 or 07. The only thing you could replay was home runs. You couldn't replay like fair or foul. You were very limited. It wasn't until like 2010 or 11 where they started, fair or foul and safe and out and all that stuff. But
and so, but here's another thing. Okay, in the sixth and the umpires, so I guess because I guess he was substituted for, as opposed to pinch run.
Right, and I think
if the pinch runner, he still would get credit for the run, correct?
Right, I think if this were today, because replay got so far expanded, they would have asked for the replay while he was on first, and he wouldn't have been replaced, so he would have got credit. So I think that was kind of like an aberration. Because the one I was thinking of, Robin Ventura hit a grand slam single in a playoff game against the Braves. So what happened was he hit a game-winning grand slam. Everybody scored, but the winning run was technically, I think, at second. So any run above that, it really didn't matter. So they mobbed him when he was rounding second, so he never scored on the home run. So they call it a grand slam single. That's how it's officially scored, which is the dumbest thing I ever heard. But
I got you. I still think that Benji Molina situation, because the play gets reverted back, it should have been him that scored. Because technically now you've kind of rewound time. Because what's the name? Who he gets? Emmanuel Burris doesn't get credit for the home run.
Right. Because he didn't hit it.
Anyway, it doesn't matter. It's not that big a deal. But it is one that I need to bring up in the next board meeting. Anyway, we're going to get up out of here. We appreciate y'all hanging out with us here on the Check Swing Podcast, and let us know who you got And that team 1, team A versus team B, team 2, whatever you want to call it. It was Shaq, Kobe, AI, Tim Duncan, and LeBron James versus Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, Michael Jordan, and Giannis Antetokounmpo. Who you got?
I swear you love just to say his name.
No, I stopped so I can kind of slow it down in my head so I can, and I say it real fast just in case I kind of jack it up, so nobody can catch it that I jacked his name up. Giannis Antetokounmpo. Because I really don't know how to say it, so I don't even know if I don't know how to say it. But let us know who you got. Leave a comment. Make sure you follow us on YouTube. Excuse me, on at New Twist Radio. It's youtube.com/New Twist Radio. Hit the subscribe button. Share us with your folks, and let us know who you got from those two teams. You're not making trades like Miguel did. You're not making trades. That's not how it works. It's Team A versus Team B. Who you got? Anyway, we're getting up out of here. We appreciate y'all hanging with us. We'll check y'all next time here on the Check Swing Podcast. Be good, y'all.